Hi, it's Chris Watkin here, and I'm with Rory and Grant from Dataloft. And between us, you've got two of the three biggest independent property stats firms in the UK, haven't you?
Yeah,
If only
do,
David
yeah.
from Resi Analytics was here, we'd have all
full
three of
house,
us.
full house,
Yeah.
isn't it?
So the purpose of this video, boys and girls, is to work out where the stats come from, so we can help the boys and girls out there in estate agency land produce their own reports. Then we can make ourselves out of business. How's that sound?
No, that sounds great.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Right, talk to me.
Well, I mean, if you take Inform, which is our online subscription tool, then so what we do is we choose data sets that are going to give us the biggest samples and the best quality of data.
Okay.
So, from a sale, we have sales, lettings, and kind of local demographic content on Inform. So, from a sales perspective, we do actually always use the land reg.
Got to, haven't you?
It's based on prices that have actually been achieved rather than asking prices on Rightmove and Zoopla, for example. It's comprehensive, it's pretty accurate, and we have on Inform alone we have 25 years worth of data and about 25 million records. So we can do some really cool bits of analysis with that.
But surely it's not about just dumping data, is it?
It's not about data, and actually, I know we're called Dataloft, but what we do is we take that data, we turn it into stories and trends, like you do as well. So we're weaving stories and interesting findings from that data. So it's really about insight, market insight, or market intelligence would be a better description for it. And then from a rental point of view, we're actually really excited. We're building this very unique rental data set, which is based on rent paid transactions, and we work with several credit referencing agencies to pull that together. And I think we've got something like 5 years worth of data and almost 1 million records now. And again, we've chosen to go down that route because it's based on actual rents achieved. It's different again to Rightmove and Zoopla.
Because the sources out there for rents, HomeLet do quite a half decent.
Yeah.
And you've got the London. You've got some nice London stats, but out of London, it's all very regional, not particularly good.
Yes, so this allows us to go right down to postcode sector in terms of analysis, which is quite amazing. So we can go down to postcode sector, both land reg from a sales perspective and from a lettings perspective. And then we pull in from hundreds of other sources as well. So we like to weave in stats like from the census, for example, from ONS, from Bank of England to kind of paint the whole picture about the market.
Again, big tips for the boys and girls out there is when it comes to Office of National Statistics, quite often it doesn't go down to postcode district level, but it does go down to council level.
Yeah.
And quite often the councils have been nicely chopped up. But it's hard work finding these stats, though, isn't it?
It's really hard work, and you have to be really careful. So try not to have a plug, but it does help if you work with an analyst who knows data, because what some of the pitfalls can be, for example, if you drill down to an area that's actually very small and very micro, and you might actually be dealing with a handful of transactions, for example, and that can skew the results quite dramatically. So what we do is we flag up on our system if the sample is too small to alert people to that. And we recommend setting up patches around an estate agent's office, for example, that give a nice set of data to drill into.
So right,
I'm sure you do the same.
I use especially for my valuations of what's a moving 3-month average, just to take the spikes out.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you have a big detached house that really cocks. That's a technical term. Cocks your figures up, and it makes the agents look silly, because if you think about it, if you're chucking these stats out, you're almost putting your neck on the line, or tall poppy syndrome, aren't you?
Yeah.
I mean, some nice little tips. I know not for you guys, but for estate agents out there, go to Zoopla and click on the word house prices, and there's some lovely stats there. I know it's more bite-sized pieces, but again, I think what you said earlier on was bang on, Rory, was that it's not a case of just chucking data out. It's about creating a story around it, comparing and contrasting. This is what's happening in this town, but this is what's happening in this town, or this is what happened in the last 12 months, this is what happened in the last 5 years.
Yeah.
And if you don't do that, you just regurgitate numbers and just almost throw it up.
Well, I think what you want to do is you want to enter a conversation with your clients.
Yes.
And if you could give them a bit of content that they can put on social media, for example, and it's a did you know type stat. But did you know the average age of tenants in our area is 34 and getting older all the time? And I mean that's
Is
an
it really?
interesting.
Sorry.
Yeah, it is. Well, tenants are actually staying in their houses
Yes,
for
they
almost
are.
4 years now.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
English housing survey.
Yeah, and vendors
Hit me again.
vendors are staying in their house for almost 18 years
Yes.
now. That number is rising
I've just
all the
written that
time.
article.
So,
Yeah.
Because you can get
It's
stats
amazing.
Yeah.
going down to town
amazing.
level. It's just,
so what we'd recommend, and we've been really lucky that we've been listening to Josh Fegan speak in the last couple of weeks.
an amazing guy.
Yeah, and
absolutely.
what he talks about all the time is keep that conversation going. But so whether it's an old client, a new client, a prospect, or whatever, but how do you keep that conversation going? And so
Especially
you do what
for
most
18
estate agents
years.
do. Well, you do what estate agents do. You talk about yourself. You tell people how many houses you've sold. You put on your right move stats on how much market share you've got. Because that's what everyone does. So it must be right, mustn't it?
no.
But
Share what?
But interestingly, you know, like we promote, share a market report with your clients, and what will that do? Well, it'll tell them about the market, which will help them make better decisions in the future.
But Grant, you said earlier on, this one's not moving for 18 years. What's the point of me spending all that money?
This is the big question, but the chances are they might move sooner. You don't know, I guess.
Well, I mean,
And if they don't, then their friends will move, their cousins will move,
Right.
the guys living their pizza will move. You know what you want is to be the agent that people refer to, the people that recommend you, and to be at the tip of the tongue and always in that top three. So Charters in Winchester, for example.
Well, I mean,
they're
we're in
always-
Grantham. They're amazing. A guy from Grantham picked that up
Yeah.
2 years ago, and I still remember it.
That's interesting.
So in Winchester, you'll always think, right, well, I'll definitely speak to Charters.
Yeah.
And that's because they're
in the top three, aren't they?
Yeah, they're always sharing their knowledge of the
They were
market.
distributing 80,000 of those market reports
Yeah.
across the whole of Winchester postcodes, and
It's a lot of money, though.
They've done, yeah, and it started 10 years ago when they came into.
But did they get instant results from it?
Yes, they did. They literally have people bringing the report in.
No,
to the office.
instant results when they started 10 years ago.
I think it took. No, I think it took. It takes time to build that brand and that awareness. So,
But surely people, let's be frank, most estate agents are very, how can I say, haven't got a lot of patience and want it now.
what results now?
What would you say to estate agents that think, well, I need to talk about the property market, we'll find out where the stats are, and we'll just chuck them out. But then after 2 or 3 months, I mean, let's all be frank with each other. We are in competition with each other, okay?
Yeah.
Yet there's enough fish out there in the pond for us to go at. We are both presented with clients who want instant results. What do you say to agents that want instant results?
I mean, I speak to agents every day, and I think you are absolutely right. It's a very here and now mentality. Want more listings, more properties, etc. And I think it's about just staying consistent. I think it's thinking long term. It's thinking playing the long game. And I believe, we believe that, and you believe that, if you stay relevant and stay talking about the property market and keep engaged.
You see, I think you've hit the nail on the head there. Is that every homeowner is interested in what's happening to the local property market, to their home. And if you want to attract people to your agency, it's about being attractive. And there's nothing more attractive to homeowners and landlords as what's happening to a property market. No one gives a shit. Sorry, I shouldn't swear. Beat that out. No, keep it in. No, it's true. It's true. Nobody gives a monkeys about you or your firm or your services or what you offer. And surely, it's worked for Savills.
Yeah.
It works for Knight Frank. It should work. It's worked for Charters. It works for plenty of your clients. It works for plenty of my clients. Stop talking about yourself and start talking about the stuff that people are interested in.
I would also say, I mean, 2 really important words there are trust and relevance, because, estate agents, some get a bad rap, and that's unfair on a lot of incredibly good agents. There's some brilliant ones out there. So what you need to do is you need to generate trust. They need to trust that you really know your stuff. And so, from our point of view, and our clients would agree, there's no better way than demonstrating knowledge of the market. And then what we find is that once you've got that trust and you're sharing relevant information with people, things like fees can actually be really boosted by that.
Do you know there's a biological... I might teach you this, if you can stop me if I do, but there's a biological thing that... Would you agree that people do business with people they trust?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay. So what we need to do is reverse engineer. How do you build trust? and something really weird happens because I'm really into this shit. Sorry, I shouldn't swear. That's the second time I swore. I don't normally swear. Okay, is if you get someone to be interested in you, it's like human beings. We put celebrities on pedestals, don't we?
Yeah.
You know, if I said, you know, Sir David Attenborough's been voted the most trustworthy person in Britain for the last 5 years. Have you met him?
No.
No. But you trust him.
Yeah.
Everyone would trust him. But you know,
He's built a profile.
what he's done is he's the stuff he chucks out is interesting. And it comes back to caveman times. Is if you're interested in something, you'll get to know them more, and then you'll like them more, and then something really weird happens in the human brain that like then turns into trust, even though none of us have actually tested the trust of Sir David Attenborough. We trust him. That's why we put celebrities on pedestal. So therefore, if you want people to trust you, you have to get them to be engaged with you and be interesting.
Interesting, yeah.
And
relevant.
well, it's the same thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
If it wasn't relevant, it wouldn't be interesting.
Yeah.
It's got to be educational, intriguing, funny, or all the combination. So if you want people to engage with you, first thing you have to then how do you get them to engage with you? You have to grab their attention. But what most estate agents are doing, it's a bit like people going into a bar. They're trying to go from attention to trust straight away. Like, hey up, missus, let's go out on a night date. You know, I'm sure it would work for a good-looking lad like you.
Plenty of times.
What about me?
Well, probably is not too bad.
No,
Well, you have to get
definitely.
their attention, build up engagement by being interesting, and they'll start to trust you.
Yeah.
And can we all agree that there's nothing more interesting and engaging and relevant to homeowners than what's happening to my house?
We love it. We love we want to know what's going on with our biggest
Yes, we do.
asset. Absolutely.
So really, stop talking about yourself, start talking about your firm, and start talking about the one thing that local homeowners are interested in, which is the property market.
Yeah.
Couldn't agree more.
We're also we really believe that actually it enhances your service offering to be able to offer things like market reports and relevant. So
you're giving
Grant often
value,
talks
aren't
to
you?
people about if you've got a service charter as an agent, and when you're selling your business to a potential vendor, for example, you say to them, as part of what we offer to you, we'll send you a monthly market report. We'll update you on market conditions, as well as all the other brilliant things they do as an agent.
And the brilliant
And
one,
that really enhances your service.
I think it's spot on, and I think the lettings one, the lettings report that we do, is, as Rory said, it's quite unique. We pull it in from the data from credit referencing agencies. As your service charter to your landlords, Mr. Landlord, we're going to provide you with a market snapshot of the lettings market as part of what we do. I think that's just a brilliant added value.
It's great for. I mean, we produce reports ourselves for our clients, and especially if you send them to landlords that you're trying to get off other agents, that works a treat. Especially if you send it for about 9 months,
Yeah.
and then stop, and then send them a letter and say, if you want to continue on, send me a note in the post, and that makes them the landlord that you're trying to whip.
Yeah.
Because they've got fear of missing out.
Yeah.
And even
Giving you all my tips here, aren't I?
Yeah.
We've had an interesting conversation recently about the sort of valuation tools. Every agent has come and get a free valuation on our website, which is really valuable. But because everyone's doing it, it's not necessarily got so much standout as it used to. And actually, so what we encourage people to do with our content is to say to people, would you like to receive a monthly market report? Would you like a report on your house, on your market? And then we get them to put in their email addresses, and it acts as a lead generation tool. And actually, our clients are finding it really refreshing to be able to offer something different as a lead bait rather than just a valuation tool.
Everybody knows what their house is worth, but if
Yeah.
you can actually send them a report, which is interesting, I think it's a cracking idea.
And one of our clients that's got the widget on his website, he said it's the second most visited page apart from the home page. And he's got the little caveat at the bottom. This is the property market in the area. If you'd like to know a little bit more and have a market report, click here. Opens up a box, captures the customer, and he gets between 20 and 25.
And then once you've
Requests a week.
got into that habit of emailing out reports or market information to a client, then you've got that dialogue going, and then you're going back to that Josh Fegan bit about, don't just abandon them when they've sold a house. Keep that relationship going.
Only
You can
12%
keep it
of
going.
people who buy a house go back to the agent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's disgusting, isn't
That's a
it?
shock.
I think most people. I think there's a stat that after 4 years, most people can't remember the agent that actually
There you go.
sold their house.
But if you give them relevant, interesting, compelling, educational information that they're interested in, you're on a winner.
Yeah.
Chaps,
Thank you very much.
Absolute pleasure, Chris. Thank you.